So, if this remains, and what Arizona Republicans, what some of them are advocating on the ballot that would offer
took it into a transport truck, and then police lost the tail. They could not find this gold or the currency for months. But this is where the plot gets interesting. Right now, 6 suspects under arrest, 3 still at large, and police are saying that what they did is they lifted this cargo container using phony shipment documents, actually printed from inside the Air Canada facility. And Kate, police admitted that one of the suspects, who's now still at large from Air Canada, actually gave them a tour of the warehouse facility while they were investigating this. Needless to say that the trail had gone somewhat cold for a few months, and that's where we take the story to Pennsylvania and the arrest of Duarte King McLean. He was in a rental car. A state trooper stopped him for some traffic violations. Inside, they found 65 firearms, which police allege that Mr. King McLean was trying to smuggle into Canada. Now, to piece this all together, Kate, police say that what happened is that those gold bars were then melted down. They've only recovered, in fact, about $70,000 worth of the gold. It was all melted down. And in fact, sold for cash. What happened with that cash? It was then funneled into an elaborate gun smuggling operation. And Kate, this really points to what's going on both borders, right? You have both the northern border and the southern border, where gun running is really becoming a lucrative business for organized crime. And this is the kind of plot that unraveled, police say, at Toronto's airport. The investigation, I should say, is still underway. Kate?
I mean, it'll elaborate, and I mean, you tell it so well, but it is amazing the twists and turns it's taking and may still take. Thank you, Paula. It's good to see you. And the next hour of CNN News Central starts now.
All right, happening now just moments ago, Donald Trump arrived at court. Is he on his way to a major rebuke from the judge over social media posts about the jury? A critical day for House Speaker Mike Johnson, putting his job on the line for a vote on Ukraine. How many Republicans are now pushing for his ouster? And stay tuned to see what the world's most dynamic humanoid robot can really do. No, not me. This is science. I'm human being John Berman with Kate Baldwin and Sarah Seiner, and this is CNN News Central.
Breaking news for you. We're standing by right now to potentially hear a brand new direct message from Donald Trump before he heads in court for the 3rd day of his historic criminal trial. Moments ago, he arrived at the courthouse, as you heard from John. And if the first 2 days are any indicator, he will likely stop before cameras and say something. But it is something he's already said, rather posted, that's raising serious legal alarm this morning. Will the judge admonish him again? CNN's Kara Scannell is live outside court. Kara, you are about to go inside where you've been watching this unfold. What will you be watching for as jury selection resumes and after this Truth Social post by Donald Trump?
Well, Sarah, I think that Truth Social post is something that we're all looking to see, whether that is addressed this morning, either raised by the prosecution or if the judge takes it up himself. I mean, in this post, Trump says that they are catching undercover liberal activists lying to the judge in order to get on the Trump jury, quoting a Fox News host. But the big question here is, does this violate the gag order, which specifically says Trump cannot make any statements about prospective jurors or jurors in the case? The judge is already considering whether Trump violated the gag order for other statements he made earlier this week. There's a hearing on that next week, but as we're in the middle of jury selection, big thing is, will the judge bring this up? And just a reminder, on Tuesday, that it was the judge himself who pointed out and said he wanted to note for the record that he had heard Donald Trump uttering and gesturing in the direction of one of the jurors during jury selection. He put that on the record, and he said to Trump's attorney that there will be no intimidation of jurors in this courtroom. I want to make that crystal clear, and instructed Trump's lawyer to speak to him, which he did. So this is clearly something of concern to the judge. Big question is, does he bring that up, and what is the fallout from that? Once that issue is settled, though, jury selection is expected to get underway again. Remember, we have 7 jurors who are already seated. Today they are bringing in a new panel of 96 jurors, and we will start this process all over again. The judge will ask if anyone feels that they can't be fair and impartial. Those jurors will be excused. If anyone else can't serve, given the length of time or for other reasons, they'll be excused. Then we'll have the mass of jurors go through that questionnaire, begin the lawyer questioning, and then strikes, and see if we can get to 12 jurors and as many as 6 alternates by the end of the week. Sarah?
Yeah, if it's anything like what happened on Tuesday, this could go quite fast. The judge saying that potentially opening statements might start even on Monday. Kara Scannell, thank you so much for all your reporting from inside court and out. Kate?
Joining us now on this is CNN senior legal analyst, former assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, Elie Honig, and criminal defense attorney and former federal prosecutor Seth Waxman. It's good to see you guys. Elie, let's start with the social media post that Kara Scannell was just laying out. How close to the line did he get? Do you think it's a violation of the gag order?
I do think it's a violation, Kate. I think it's over the line. If Donald Trump had simply typed out what he typed out, but not put quotation marks around it and attributed it to Jesse Watters, it would be a straight down the middle, flagrant violation of the gag order. And I don't think Donald Trump's going to be able to convince the judge that he can get around it simply by attributing it to somebody else or taking something that somebody else said and reposting it. And I want to note this, Kate. There are a few different classes of people, groups of people who are protected by this gag order. There's witnesses, there's court clerks, there's family members, but the jurors are the most important, the most sensitive, need to be protected above all else.
Because the concern always is jury, any kind of intimidation or perception of intimidation, all of that wrapped into that. Seth, you and I talked about this, not this exact social media post, but the idea of on Tuesday, it's obviously up to the judge to decide what penalty, if any, to enforce. Realistically, what do you think could happen here?
Well, certainly he can start off by fining Donald Trump and continuing to increase those fines if the violations continue. As you and I last talked, the remedy of incarcerating him could be out there. I don't think that's likely, but he has a whole host of other tools. For example, he could tell Donald Trump, look, you have a Sixth Amendment right to be here, to confront witnesses against you, but that's not absolute. And if you continue down this path, I will remove you from this courtroom. And then if you continue posting on social media, I can confine you to your house, I can put an ankle bracelet on you, and ultimately I can take away your social media. I can take away your internet access. So, that would be many steps down the road, but this judge is going to have to do something to try to constrain Donald Trump to make sure he's following the judge's rules.
Elie, let's talk about what's going to start back up today. Jury selection's resuming very soon. A brand new panel of potential jurors about to walk in. How are they going to narrow down this pool of prospective jurors to fill these last 5 spots? What do you think?
So, Kate, here's how the process is going to go today. The judge is starting with a brand new panel of 96 potential jurors. And the first 2 questions he's going to ask are, A, do any of you have a hardship, a job-related issue that prevents you from serving as a juror? And B, are any of you so biased, for or against either side in this case, that you just don't think you could be fair? And what the judge did the first time, and he's going to do again, is essentially anyone who raises their hand in response to either of those questions, you're out, no questions asked. And last time, that that cut the pool by more than half. They lost 50 people. Whoever remains after that, they'll then go through the questionnaire, the 42 questions that we see. We see some samples here up on the screen. After that, the judge will decide if they can stay on the jury based on their impartiality. And then after that, the parties will get to exercise what we call their peremptory challenges, meaning they can remove certain jurors they don't like for any reasons other than racially discriminatory reasons. Each side has 4 of those challenges left, and we'll see what this yields. Last time it yielded 7. If we get another 7 more out of this pool, we'll have 14. We need 12 plus up to 6 alternates, so we could get pretty close to that number at the end of this particular process.
And Seth, with 4 preemptory strikes left on either side, if you're at the consul's table and you can pick either side if you'd like, how do you plan to use these strikes when you're down to 4?
Yeah, it's a chess game. I mean, you're sitting there holding back some strikes to make sure that if some juror at the end of the whole pool process, you know, is still there and has not been struck for cause and is against your side, you want to have something in your back pocket to make sure that that one bad juror in your mind doesn't get on that jury to try this case. So it's a game of chess, and it's an art, not a science.
So, Ellie, the prosecutors have also revealed some of what they would be bringing up while potentially cross-examining Trump. That is the big if he would take the stand. It's things like recent verdicts against him, where he was found liable for a variety of things, and how he was fined for violating a court order by publicly attacking a judge's law clerk in another case. Does a list like this, as I'm painting it in broad strokes, do you think it makes it more or less likely, if the defense team knows about it, that Trump would actually take the stand?
Well, less likely for sure. I think we were already pretty close to 0.0, and I think this will make it even less likely than that, if that's mathematically possible here. The purpose of this filing yesterday is to warn a defendant. It's a standard filing in New York State Court, and what it says essentially is if you choose to take the stand, you have that right. We will, of course, cross-examine you about what we believe, prosecutors believe, is your guilt in this case. But also, we're going to ask you about these outside things that we believe bear on your truthfulness and credibility. Now, the judge has to review these all. He has to vet them all. But to take one example, the fact that Trump was just found liable for the civil fraud, for inflating the assets, I think the judge is likely to look at that and say, sure, that bears on your credibility. So Donald Trump and his lawyers are going to have to make a complicated and high-stakes decision when the time comes, whether he's going to testify, but I'm not holding my breath.
But I do love your legal math. It's good to see you guys. Thank you so much. John, I was told there's never math on the show, so I don't know what we do now.
I was told there would be no math. House Speaker Mike Johnson says let the chips fall where they may as he pushes to pass aid for Ukraine. Now those chips are falling. New reporting on the efforts to oust him. The Kennedy family making a major show of force against one of their own, RFK Jr. We've got new reporting on the plans for today. And a woman detained by police who say she took her dead uncle to a bank to try to get a loan. No word yet from the uncle.
The sinking of the Titanic, How It Really Happened. Special 2-hour premiere, Sunday, April 28th at 9 on CNN.
I feel like new sunglasses, like a brand new pair of jeans. I feel like taking chances. I feel alive. Brand new.
I was so excited to buy my first home, but I needed a lot of work done on it. I went on to Angie. Jamie was the first person to call.
I explained to her some of the things I could do and showed her some pictures.
He's resurfaced my flooring. He's done plumbing work. He's refinished this beautiful table here.
We just had to sand it for a week.
Well, we didn't. He did.
With top-rated certified pros in over 500 categories, Angie can connect you with the right pro for any home project. Find top-rated certified pros in your area at Angie.com.
My daughter is Mila. She is 19 months old. She is a little ray of sunshine. One of the happiest babies you'll probably ever meet. Children with Down syndrome typically have a higher risk for developing acute myeloid leukemia or just leukemia in general.